Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with your big boy Leo Moreno. We're gonna be chilling today, looking at TikTok, the land of women crying on a selfie camera for everything under the sun, and people calling an EV company the same political party that started a world war and killed millions of people. Here we are. Today, we're going to be looking at people reacting to the job market, talking about layoffs. It's an unfortunate topic that's affecting many right now in the American economy, at least 2025.
Given a lot of different factors, given the fact that I've been remote for a certain amount of time, working in global communications, you have a very interesting perspective on the state of the business. So I'm not surprised. It's obviously disappointing to have to part.
No, I got to say right now, I've been laid off and it's horrible, and I don't make light of it to anybody. But if I'm going to be laid off, I'm not going to say all this stuff here. Like, okay, cool. How much money am I getting? What's the package looking like? They don't care.
From something that you've committed so much of your time to.
I'll reiterate, like, it's not a performance. So don't, I think, don't, so the short answer is yes, if there was an opportunity that came available. So particularly if
No, that never happens. That never happens. They're never going to hire you back or anything like that. It's goodbye. Get out of here.
for a possibility, yes, like no question. I think what we're struggling with and having to manage through is really enormous budget cuts. And so how do people do multiple things? And there's going to be, unfortunately,
Funny budget cuts, but I mean, I doubt this is a company, but Microsoft pulling in billions upon billions of dollars, record profits, and you know what they did? They fired 7,000 people, and I think they had another layoff. Excuse me, not fired, but two massive rounds of layoffs. If I'm correct, if they for sure had one, which wild stuff, guys, wild stuff. You got to protect yourself out there. Switch this on over here. Let's see what this fella
An ex
says.
friend of mine yesterday, still in corporate, or was in corporate, he let me know that he was just let go after 10 years, or just short of 10 years, which would have kicked in some extra benefits. No performance issue, no warning. Actually, last week, he and his boss actually talked about expanding into a new region. And Monday of this week, a 30-minute meeting popped up with HR with no warning. And just like that,
Yeah, I mean, they don't care. They don't care. I've seen people with 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I've seen people high performing hit their numbers from frontline sales reps to directors to vice presidents.
it was over.
Ruthless. They don't care.
And here's the part that stings. It wasn't even his boss that told him, right? It was some
I've seen this too. I've seen this where managers don't even know it's the day of the layoff, and managers wake up and they have no clue who even got affected on their team.
random HR person. So either the boss didn't know or protocol was HR to let you go. Regardless, he had stayed probably longer than he would have because one of the 10-year mark, and then two, the perceived golden handcuffs. You know what his golden handcuffs were? 4 months severance and 4 months of benefits. So 4 and 4.
Golden. Usually, when you say golden handcuffs, it's because you have massive RSUs waiting for you. And if you don't know what an RSU is, it's a restricted stock unit, which means it's a part of a compensation where you're essentially getting assigned stock roughly every quarter. That's usually how it works, industry standard. Depends company to company. But every quarter, every 3 months, you're getting stock from the company. And it's a massive, a pot of it, right? And of course, if the company's doing very well, it's a legitimate amount of money you're talking about, right? Thousands upon thousands, again, depending on stock price, etc. So that's usually golden handcuffs. I don't know what he's talking about. 4 months and the FU at the end of that. That's wild. But yeah, and here's another thing too. I know another guy who worked at a company just about 10 years, ever since we got out of college to a couple of years ago, and he was like a dinosaur. The meteor hit. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to interview. He hasn't touched his resume in years. So, you know, almost kind of scary if you're at a company for 10 years and you're so soft in the sense that if you got laid off, how are you
Kept
going
him
to
in that
handle
job
that?
probably longer than he would have been because he thought it was the right thing to do, loyalty. So
No,
it's amazing
no.
to me the number of folks, especially Gen Xers, that think they are immune from this, right? Just because of good performance, the company's doing well, any combination. If you follow this TikTok,
Gen X, you
you
shouldn't.
know
You guys
that
were
good
the,
performance,
the
bad
first group to see
performance,
this
high
craziness
performers
happen.
are a line item. You are expensive. You've probably
Yes.
been paid a little bit more, probably underpaid what you should be. But the fact is, that the time is coming in corporate. I am still 100% convinced it's going to get a lot worse because of, the automation and just competing priorities, the economy, everything is just going to keep pushing it down. And the fact is, these companies don't give a shit how much experience you have or how much value you have. It's about cost. These CEOs are not building, 5-year, 20-year plans anymore. They're building quarter by quarter plans because
This is also very true. Quarter by quarter, and you're lucky if it's even a year or halves, you know, half of the year. Yeah, they're not talking about 5 year.
guess what? That's where their bonuses are tied. That's where their stock incentives are tied. That's what the shareholders care about. So nobody's going to be leveraging your expertise. They're going to find ways to save dollars wherever they can. And again, this story just kind of hit home with me yesterday, but I hear stories every week, from folks that are they're joining us.
This, I'm actually going to switch over to the comments here, see what they say. I was a senior director of the largest IT companies in the world. Microsoft. I was forced to lay off people all the time. I want people to know that many times layoffs have nothing to do with your performance. I definitely agree with that. Your personality, etc. They're 100% about ensuring profitability aligns with Wall Street expectations so that the CEO can keep the stock price high and shareholders happy. Our company was making billions upon billions and we laid people off. It might be actually. companies companies want loyalty from us, but they don't share it with it. True. Big true. Big true. Which is always so interesting, respectfully, that companies expect notices a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. They lay you off. It's you wake up on Monday morning, you have a 30-minute meeting on the calendar. See you later. My husband was laid off by his employer of 15 years, September 2023. Thousands of applications on one interview in 8 months and got a job back at that company in April 2024. Took a $60,000 pay cut for a higher position and told because it was a state funded 5-year contract, the layoff risk was low. Well, they lied and he was laid off again last week. Well, you know what they say. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I wouldn't have gone back to that. But again, beggars can't be choosy, and I say that.
How to. I've applied to 176 jobs in the month of June. I know this is child's play considering the job
I ran the math on that. That's like six job applications a day.
market, but let's break them down. I found 50% of these jobs on LinkedIn, 25% on the website Working Nomads, and the other 25% on various different job boards. Of the 176 jobs I've applied to, 126 have ghosted me. 26 of them have rejected me. They basically said, fuck off. However, I did receive 24 interviews. If you're curious what I'm looking at, it's my little job application tracker situation. Very cute. You can find it at the link in my bio. So have I found a job yet? No. And the more that I sit here and reflect on all of these jobs that I've applied to versus the amount of interviews I've received versus the amount that have ghosted me and rejected me, I'm starting to think that this is more of a numbers game than I anticipated as I'm entering the.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And those numbers sound about right these days. I've heard people applying to hundreds and hundreds of jobs. I've had conversations with other colleagues out in the industry that, 300, 400. I mean, this fella right here almost hit 200 in just the month of June alone. And I didn't do the division on whatever 126 and the 176 is, but maybe that's like less than 40%, even less than 30. Gave him an interview. That's rough. But either way, guys, we're going to go ahead and stop here. I hope those out there that are trying to find jobs, best of luck to you. Those that have it, hold on to it. Always work on yourself.